Hello, students. Welcome to RRR Rapid Revision Route. So, today we are going to revise the topic payment of tax. So, let's go. Shall start the topic payment of tax. While revising payment of tax, we should have a proper understanding of one thing that in GST there is a system of electronic ledgers. Yes, there is a system of electronic ledgers, and in GST, this electronic ledgers are of two types. Type number one, type number one, the one set is prepared by the taxpayer. Yes, and another set is prepared through the information furnished while filing the returns. Yes, so as I told you, one set is prepared by the taxpayer and the another set is prepared updated on the basis of returns furnished. On the basis of return furnished, the another set is being prepared. So the first set is being prepared by the taxpayer includes electronic cash ledger and electronic credit ledger, and the second set, which is prepared on the basis of returns furnished, includes electronic liability register. Yes. So these are the electronic ledgers under the GST. Now, coming towards the first one, electronic cash ledger. Section number 49, electronic cash ledger. Beginning the discussion of this topic, electronic cash ledger, I want to tell you an example that you can relate with this cash ledger. Have you heard about, say, PhonePe wallet or Paytm wallet? Yes. What happens in Paytm wallet or PhonePe wallet, etc., like examples like this? When you put 1,000 rupees in that, and from that wallet if you expend like 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 500, 200, like this, so which entries your bank account is being showing? Your bank account will show you the entry of only one, that is 1,000 rupees. That is 1,000 rupees transferred from your bank account to this wallet. And again, when you are transacting from this wallet, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 500 rupees, these entries will not be reflected in your bank account or the statement. These entries will be reflected in the wallet statement. Yes, in the wallet statement. So, this is a type of cash ledger, is a type of GST wallet. Yes, it works like this only. You put the money from your bank account into this cash ledger, and any payments of tax, interest, late fee, penalty, etc., etc., whatever you make will be debited from this account. Will be debited from this account. Yes. So this is a type of, say, GST wallet. We can relate it with this example. Now, continuing the topic, what things we can do in electronic cash ledger? In electronic cash ledger, we can deposit amount and make the payments related with the tax. See, we can deposit amount and make the payments. Sir, what are the sources through which we can deposit amount in the electronic cash ledger? In the electronic cash ledger, we can deposit amount by way of internet banking, UPI, IMPS, credit card, debit card, NEFT or RTGS, and over the counter payment. Over the counter payment means what? Going to the bank and giving cash, check, or demand draft. Yes, this is called over the counter payment. When we are making any type of deposit through the above five sources, say one, two, three, four, five sources, there is no limit of numerical limit of amount. Yes, no limit. Any amount you may deposit using these sources, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 10 lakhs, how much it may be. But there is a limit when we are depositing money through the sixth source, over the counter payment, through check, cash, or demand draft. If we are using this source, so in that case, there will be a limit of only 10,000 rupees per tax periods. Yes, per tax periods, there will be a limit of 10,000 rupees. Yes, this will be the limit. Now, in some cases, this 10,000 rupees limit of over the counter payment does not apply. Yes, when if the over the counter payment has been made by government department, if this payment is made by the government department or person notified by the commissioner or proper officer or any other officer authorized to recover outstanding dues, including attachment proceedings or sale of movable, immovable properties, or to collect the amount by way of cash check, DD during any investigation, enforcement activity, or any ad hoc deposit. Say, in the cases when this amount is being deposited in the cash ledger by the government department or any person authorized by the commissioner or any proper officer, if the proper officer is recovering this amount from the taxpayer by way of selling their movable, immovable properties, or say many dues are pending, and now the taxpayer, after investigation or assessment, is forced to pay the amount, and now is ready to pay the amount. So at that time, this 10,000 limit of over the counter payment will not be applicable in this cases. In other cases, it will be applicable. Now, payment by challan. There is a word challan. Yes, related with the real life example. Say, for example, you are driving your two wheeler with three seats. Yes, with three seats. You are sitting three people on a single two wheeler and you are driving. And there came the traffic police. What the police will do? Will stop you and what he will say? Please pay the challan. He will generate the challan. Yes. And again, second example. If you are traveling without ticket in a train and if the TT comes, what the TT will say? Yes, you have to pay the penalty as per challan. Yes, he'll threat you. I will generate the challan. Generate challan. This is challan. This is challan. Challan is a process in the government system through which you make the payment to the government. It is a receipt in return of that payment you are making to the government. Yes. So just like that, when you pay tax, interest, any amount to the government in GST or say income tax also, there is generated a challan. Yes. So let's talk about the challan. So the challan is being generated electronically on the common portal. First one, on the common portal, when you generate the challan, there comes the common portal identification number, which is of 14 digits and validity period 15 days. Again, when you go to the bank and deposit the amount or through any online mode, you deposit the amount to the cash ledger, there is generated a CIN, that is Challan Identification Number. It is of 17 digits, out of which 14 digits are of CPIN, extra 3 digits are of the bank code. This is how it is of 17 digits. After that comes the BRN, bank reference number, the reference number of the bank which makes the payment to the government account. Yes, from your account to the government account in the cash ledger. So bank reference number, which bank, which branch, or which point of bank has made the payment, or the details. And lastly, there comes the EFPB, electronic focal point branch. It means, see, where when we are when we were studying about what are the sources of putting the depositing the amount in the electronic cash ledger. So there was authorized bank. Yes, there was authorized bank. Now in that authorized bank, it means some bank or some branches has been authorized under GST to collect the payment from the taxpayer. Yes, so that banks are given a EFPB number. Yes, EFPB number. That branches are given or the banks are given EFPB number, and then they become the authorized bank. Now this is the thing. Now see, as I told you that the challan is generated on the common portal electronically. So the challan is generated in form PMT06. In PMT06, generate the challan, and as soon as the challan is generated, you can make the payment, yes, or create the mandate in your say online modes, UPI, IMPS, NEFT, RTGS, etc. etc. So do the payment. When you will pay, what will happen? The amount will be successfully credited to the government account, and as soon as it will be credited, the CIN number will be generated. And now what will happen after the generation of CIN number? First of all, you receive the CIN number. So life is going good. No problem. CIN number received. Second, CIN number not received, not generated by the bank. If not generated, not received by the bank, not received by the taxpayer, and not generated by the bank, then what you can do? Fill the form GST PMT07 with all the proofs of the payment made, reference number, everything. So they will correct it and generate the CIN. And thirdly, what can happen? What can happen? The bank has generated the CIN. CIN is generated, but bank has not communicated the CIN to the taxpayer. Then also no problem, because in the RBI e-scroll that will be corrected, that will be seen, and your cash ledger will be accordingly updated by the amount you have deposited. So this can happen. Now there is a date, which date we should consider. Say today we have made payment, and after 3 days it has been reflected in the government's account. Yes. So date of debit from the your account, bank account, or date of credit of the government account. Which date we should consider? So in this GST provisions, we should consider the date of credit into the government's account, the treasury of the government. Yes. So this we should consider. Yes. This is all about the provision of depositing money in the electronic cash ledger. Now, how can you make payment using the cash ledgers? We are seeing that there are two heads, major head, minor head. See this, I will relate this example with your practical examples in your life. See, whenever you fill a form, there is a, say for example, a topic, say qualification, and in that heading you will have a list. You will click on the list, a drop down list will come. Among the drop down list you will select something, and as soon as you select, a new drop down list will come. Now select this. What are this? The first drop down list is the major head, and the another one after selecting the major head comes the minor heads. Major head, and in form of the payment of GST, what you will do, go in the portal. When you make the payment, you have to select number one, IGST. The drop down list will come, IGST, CGST, SGST, DGST, says like this. And when the drop down list will come, you will select only one. Say you selected IGST. When you select the IGST, another drop down list will come. In IGST, what do you have to pay? You have to pay tax, interest, penalty, fee, others, what. So accordingly, you have to select that thing. So these are the minor head and the major head under the payment of tax using the electronic cash ledger. Now, as it's a human, and human may make the error. Yes. So what error you have made? You have to pay IGST tax. But what you have done? You have selected IGST but paid interest. One error. Number two, you have to pay IGST tax, but what you have done? You have selected CGST and paid the tax. Error number two. Made the error. So what your portal will say? Your IGST tax is pending. Your IGST tax is pending. In both the errors, it will say, it will give a pop-up. Your IGST tax is pending. So what you can do? There is any solution to correct it? Yes. Now fill the GST PMT 09 and instruct the authorities, the proper officer, that I have wrongly selected CGST instead of IGST, or interest instead of tax. Please adjust the amounts and please accordingly receive the payment. So if you had made any type of error, you have to fill GST PMT 09, and through this form you can correct your error, and the proper officer will self automatically adjust the amount and correct it, and the pop-up will be gone. So this is the case of electronic cash ledger. Now credit ledger. What do you mean by electronic credit ledger? Sir, electronic credit ledger will be a whole balance of input tax credit available to the taxpayer. Yes, it will be a ledger which will show you that how much credit balance do you have that you can utilize while making payments. Now, coming towards electronic credit ledger, we should focus on one thing, that electronic credit ledger can be used only to make the payment towards output tax. Very important. Only to pay the output tax, electronic credit ledger can be used. Yes, focus on this point. It can be used only to make payment towards output tax. Number two, second important point, it cannot be utilized for tax payable under reverse charge mechanism. It means electronic credit ledger can be used for making only output tax under the forward charge mechanism, not under the reverse charge mechanism. So under reverse charge, you can use cash ledger, not the credit ledger, to make the payments. And lastly, when we are using credit ledger, yes, we'll see these issues, then make the judgment. Yes. Now, any balance of amount available in the electronic credit ledger can be utilized towards payment of tax under GST. Yes, of course, we have seen it. It can be utilized only for the payment of output tax. Yes. Now, issue number two, any amount available in the electronic credit ledger can be used for making payment which are other than tax. Other than tax, interest, late fee, penalty, other these things. Can we make the payment of these things using credit ledger? No, we cannot make the payment of interest, penalty, fees, or any other amount. We cannot make the payment of these things using credit ledger. So these things can be paid only using the cash ledger. Yes, we can use the cash ledger to pay these things. This were the clarification. Now coming towards electronic liability register. See, as we have seen that this is the second set of electronic ledgers which is being generated, auto-generated using the information that have been furnished in the returns. Now, the information furnished in the returns now will generate electronic liability register if any liability is being created on the taxpayer. If any liability, for example, I have not paid tax for the last month, then my name will be reflected in the electronic liability register. Now, my name will be there in the electronic liability register. So it will say that Mr. Tushar Tapadia has not paid the tax for the last tax period. So, like this, it will be updated. If you are pending to pay current period tax, last period tax, or interest, late fee, penalty, any demand and recovery proceedings, all will be updated in the electronic liability register. Now, we'll see the chronology of what should be the first priority to set off under the electronic liability register. Say after many times of pendings and liability, the taxpayer has paid the amount. Now the taxpayer has paid the amount. So the amount the taxpayer has paid, where to be utilized first? The first, it should be utilized to fulfill the dues for the previous tax periods. For the previous tax periods, first the dues of the previous tax period should be fulfilled. After that, if balance available, current tax period dues. And after that, if balance available, then interest, late fee, penalty, demand, recovery, other amount will be forfeited using the balance. So these are the thing, and this is the mandatory sequence. This sequence is very compulsory. First of all, previous tax period dues, current tax period dues, and the other amount. Yes. So this is all about electronic liability register. Now, when any new liability is being created, say for example, I have not paid tax for the current period, and now my name is going to be registered under the liability register. So that amount, that ledger is debited. Every time when the liability will increase on the taxpayer, the electronic liability register will will be debited. Now, when you pay off the liability, you pay off the tax, previous tax, current tax, or any interest, late fee, penalty pending, then your electronic liability register is credited and it will be observed from where you had made the payment. You had made the payment from electronic credit ledger or cash ledger. Accordingly, the ledger will be debited. If you made the payment using the credit ledger will be debited. If you made the payment using the cash ledger will be debited. So this is all about the ledgers. Now we'll see the process of interest on delayed payment of tax under section 50. See, in delayed payment of tax, the rate of interest is maximum 18%, and the government has notified the same rate of tax. 18% per annum will be the rate of interest, that has been notified by the government if you made or delayed not made or delayed the payment of tax. Now see how it will be done. Case number 1, you have filed the GSTR 3B late. You have filed the GSTR 3B late. GSTR 3B filed means in GSTR 3B your tax amount will be given to the government. Yes, your tax amount will be paid. So you have filed that return late. So what will be the calculation? How will be the calculation? Sir, we know the amount. We know the rate of interest. What we have to calculate? We have to calculate the time period. Yes, we have to calculate the time period. Now, from when the interest will be start the calculation? Yes, their calculation will be started from the very first day after the due date of GSTR 3B. So the GSTR 3B due date and the next day after it, following day after it, will start the calculation of interest up to the date of payment of tax. Now, seeing here, if we are under section 51 In this case, that we have filed the GSTR 3B, declared tax and paid in GSTR 3B file after the due date. We have done by on our own. Yes, we have recognized that we have made the mistake, we have delayed the amount of tax, and now we realize it and we are on our own, we are making the payment. Though after the due date, but we are making the payment. Then on which portion the interest will be calculated? It will be calculated on the cash portion. Amount you have paid using the electronic cash ledger, on that amount your interest will be calculated, not will be calculated on the amount you have paid using the credit ledger. It may happen that a single amount of 1 lakh rupees, in 1 lakh rupees 40,000 you have paid using credit ledger and 60,000 you have paid using cash ledger. So the amount you have paid using the cash ledger, that is 60,000, on this amount you are going to calculate the interest in this case. But what if we had not paid the tax? Though we have recognized that we are making delay or we have made a mistake, we are ignoring it. Then the procedure of demand and recovery will start. And once the procedure of demand and recovery will start, the interest will be calculated on the total amount. As we had the example, 1 lakh through 1 lakh 40,000 credit ledger, 60,000 cash ledger. Now in the second case, the 18% interest will be applicable on the whole amount of rupees 1 lakh. That is the amount you have paid using the cash ledger and the credit ledger if the demand and recovery proceeding starts. Now another thing, so this is all about the interest portion. We have also discussed the date. Yes, I have told you from which date to which date you have to make the interest calculation. So this is all about the payment of tax chapter. So here we have completed this chapter. So meet you all in the next chapter in the next video. Up till that, bye bye. Hello students, here I am with you with an announcement for our regular batches which are coming on 21st of September CA Intermediate Taxation and 25th of September CA Foundation all subject, and this batches will be in 100% English language and at a very shocking price. To know the shocking price and other details of the batches, you can contact on the given number. Yes, so meet you all in the regular batches. Up till that, bye bye.